Nadame, big consistency so far through these first couple of games has always been, the defense's ability to get into the backfield and get pressure on the quarterback, and that seemed to really be a key tonight. What is it about, the unit up front and the linebackers and, Josh Franklin coming off the edge with a blitz tonight that really leads you guys to wreak havoc back there?
It just started off with a mentality. Coach O'Leary, he instilled it in us every week. You know what I'm saying? Even after a loss, he remind us like, we are who we are. We know who we are. We are what we put on film every week in practice. You know what I'm saying? Even with the losses, like if you watch our defense and you know ball, like that's our identity, and we just gotta keep playing to that and not get caught up in the wins and losses.
I think there was one point late there in the game where you were at middle linebacker.
Yes, sir.
Tyson Lee was at defensive tackle,
Yes,
and then
sir.
you had Rodney and Kershaw on the ends.
Yes,
That's
sir.
4 to 5 defensive ends out there.
Yes, sir.
Like how is an offensive line supposed to handle that?
Yeah, they can't, man. We try to just keep them thinking, keep them on their toes, not making stuff easy. I'm gonna get chips and stuff like that. So just lining me up in different places to make it hard on the offensive line and offenses.
Obviously, tough situation when they come out and run it right down the field at
Yeah.
the start of the second half
Yes,
to
sir.
score the touchdown. But after that, you guys really held them in check. What was the message kind of there after that big score?
Like again, Coach O'Leary, man, man, that guy is amazing. Like he come from where he come from, so he keep that pressure on us. Like not to get down, not to lose focus on the plan, the game plan, and that's to, play to our separators, block destruction, stuff like that. So, like him, he just keep coming around, looking us in our face, let's go. It ain't don't get caught up in that. Keep reminding us, and I feel like that helps, especially with the leaders like me, Tate. We're gonna delay that message and spread that energy around our defense for sure.
Um, you guys twice had to defend short fields off of turnovers. I think once in the first half, once in the second half.
Yes, sir.
If I had that correct, maybe twice in the first
Yes,
half.
sir.
How important was it for you guys as a defense to come out of holding them to field goals? I mean, you end up winning the game by 1 point.
Yeah.
Hindsight is obviously critical, but just in those moments to not you give up a touchdown there and it starts to snowball. Of how critical was it to come out there, force them into quick field goals, and get the offense the ball back?
Yes, sir. It's very important. Like I said, we got to nut up as a defense, you know what I'm saying, and stand firm. That's what good defenses do. They stand firm and they don't break, you know what I'm saying, no matter the situation, no matter what happened. We play one play at a time, you know what I'm saying, and I think Coach O'Leary emphasized that a lot, and it helps me. It helps, when I relay the message to other guys, it just helps get the defense going. So we know how important those drives were to, nut up and hold them to three, make it easier for our offense to get an opportunity and stuff like that. So
And then the taking the ball away was obviously very big for you
Yes.
guys today. A couple, I think, 2, 3 of them.
yeah.
How important is that for you guys? You've been able to be effective in the pass rush and be disruptive,
sir.
but pairing that with a secondary that can
Yes,
then
sir.
be disruptive, it seems like that could really take the defense to a, we can't keep
Absolutely.
pass rush. I mean, like it seems like it really
Yep.
could build to something.
Yep. And like I said, it's just we feed off each other. So, you know what I'm saying? A good D line, it goes off of a good back. You know what I'm saying? A good back could help a front get to the quarterback a little quicker. So, definitely, it'll be a great thing to see. That back end just starting to, make some plays and take some off the front and make it easier for us to get to the quarterback. Definitely, it's important.
First 3 games for you guys, it seems every single game you had an absolute lockdown, half on defense,
Yes,
but
sir.
just couldn't quite get that whole, game
Yeah.
for you guys. Today, I mean, it was their start to finish for you guys, that defensive unit to just kind of, maybe for you guys as a group, maybe have that sigh of relief of,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, look, we finally got this. Just how good as a unit are you guys feeling right now?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we feel really good. We've been feeling good, though, you know what I'm saying? We are who we are since first week, you know what I'm saying? It's just certain things we got to clean up. We had to clean up. We still got to clean up. But that's what makes a good defense, you know what I'm saying? Going through adversity, learning, and not breaking, you know what I'm saying? Keeping pressure on them, and it's important. It's important to us. It's important to coaches, and they emphasize it. Like I said, every day, I'm not being dramatic. Every day, Coach O'Leary reminds us. Defensive staff remind us, but it starts with Coach O'Leary. So,
And when you look at, again, just the way you guys did perform on that side, just the excitement of again, first MAC game, first MAC win, and just what this means for you guys as a unit moving forward of shutting down a great Toledo team and what you guys might be able to do as conference play continues to unfold for you guys.
definitely, it builds confidence for us, and I feel like that's all we kind of needed. We needed a win under our belt just to show us some light and get us going. And now we know who we are, where we are, and I feel like the sky's the limits for this team. You know what I'm saying? On both sides of the ball, definitely.
All right. Thanks, Dame.
I appreciate you.
Brock, did you expect that 2-point play to be that wide open?
No, I really didn't because we kind of ran that same play before. So I'm thinking that they were going to have at least someone on the edge, and it's a pass play. So right when I came out and Buckley was open, but I didn't even want to risk that 5-yard pass, so I just kind of just tucked it and ran. Buckley knew what to do. So.
You guys really picked up the passing game there in the second half, and obviously, down, you need to move the ball a little quicker. But, what did you see kind of in that second half that led to that success through the air?
Yeah, credit to our O-line, credit to my receivers. They all did a great job getting open. It's a lot easier when you guys are wide open. So, just our O-line play. They did a phenomenal job. Receivers, it's all of them. I just throwing it to the open guys.
I wanted to ask, this is the first full game you played with Raheem. Obviously, kind of had to come in on the fly. You're playing a Big Ten defense last week. How do you feel like he did this week? It looked like it was pretty clean.
We have so much faith in Raheem. Him and Jeremy, we're fighting for the starting job, and it could have been either guy. Jeremy was in the system for longer, so they like Jeremy, and Raheem. I love that guy, man. It's been me and him all summer. Brady was taking the ones reps with Jeremy, so it's been me and Raheem have been building that connection since spring ball and throughout the summer.
And then on the touchdown before the 2-point conversion, that looked like it was a lot closer, obviously, than the 2-point conversion in terms of like getting the pylon. Mm-hmm. Did you just kind of take me through your mental sort of space there of like you're rolling out, decide to run, and then sort of see like I'm gonna have to
Once I saw that green grass outside of the Mike Brescia, he did a great job slowing his guy down, allowing me to get around the edge, and right when I saw the pylon, I knew I was just gonna tuck it and run and get that touchdown.
And then lastly, for the 2-point conversion, was there ever like any doubt that you were going for? Like, was it, hey, if we score here, we're going for 2? Like, you knew that ahead of time, or was it?
Coach Taylor, he brought the offense up when the defense went back out there with like 2 minutes left, and he said, if we score a touchdown, we're going for 2, and we're winning this game. And he stuck to his word.
Last a couple weeks, tough sledding on offense. Obviously, a top 10 team in the country, but the game against North Texas before, a little slow in that fourth quarter. To finally get that first touchdown in this game, in that third quarter, just what it meant for you guys as a unit to, maybe a sigh of relief and say, okay, hey, we finally got something, because it really did kind of seem to open things up from there a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, getting that first touchdown in the game, it's a big momentum bringer. And we've shown flashes of what we could do the past 3 weeks. We're moving the ball great. It's just when we get in those critical situations, we get backed up in a drive. It kind of drive killers, And getting that first touchdown definitely brought a lot of momentum. Then you could kind of tell we were able to move the ball a little better. Everyone was a lot more comfortable. One score that we got to get, and yeah.
It seemed as though some of the play action things that you guys had going on today, just whether it's bootlegs rolling out, allowing to open up if you're going to drop off on a quick pass or take off with your feet, just how much that really helped you guys today of really trying to open things up and pick apart Toledo to make it down the field and score.
Yeah, those plays, they really stress the defense. I could throw it, run it. O-line did a great job in those plays, receivers. If I see the open grass, just run it, get yards. And the receivers did a great job blocking downfield. We're going to run those plays a lot, and that's a big key to our offense to be good at those plays.
A lot of tough sledding yards for you guys in between the tackles as well. It seemed like you were throwing some blocks. Jalen Buckley was throwing some blocks. Just the buy-in of everyone on the offensive side right now to come up with those key blocks, sacrifice themselves for big catches. Just what has really impressed you about everyone just giving it their all on that side?
Yeah, I mean, the first touchdown I had, it wouldn't have even happened without Balin Brooks. That was a run play or kind of a pop pass play. I went off schedule, ran to the left. Balin Brooks had a great block, and that kind of is a testament to our whole wide receiver unit, our tight ends, running backs, quarterbacks. We're all willing to sacrifice everything just for our teammates. And, if we win, we're winning. It doesn't matter about stats. Doesn't matter about how many catches I got. Every guy on that field is just going to lay it down the line for everyone else.
I got one more for you over here, Brock. There was a moment in the second half where you had like a pretty open throw to Avion. He dropped it, and like obviously you could see he was like frustrated.
Yeah.
I think the literal next play you came right back to him for like a 7-yard gain. It was probably even a tougher catch. Mm-hmm. What gives you the confidence in a freshman that like you just keep going back to him? It's like he's just going to flush that.
It's been throughout the whole summer. Yeah, he's a really young guy, but he's going to be really good. He's already a great player, but he has potential to be really, really good. And I always tell him just flush it. You know what I mean? Just play the next play. That's what all of our coaches tell us. And I have so much confidence in him, and never a doubt where I'm going. If have that one-on-one matchup, it's gonna be Avion.
All right, thanks, Brock.
Yep, thank you guys.
All right, we'll start with an opening statement from Coach Taylor following the 14-13 win over Toledo.
How about those Broncos tonight, man? I tell you what, I've never been more proud of a group of young men, staff, coaches, men and women, everything that they poured in. Those guys poured everything, their heart and soul into this game to win. And it took all 60 minutes. They never stopped believing. They never stopped fighting. They never stopped persevering. We overcame adversity time and time again, and they just stayed together. And every time adversity hit or something didn't go our way, they just kept playing one play at a time and believing. And I've never been more proud of a group to be 0-3 and then come and play a really good Toledo team, to get down by 13 points, 2 scores, and even have adversity there at the end. I thought that their resilience, their ability to come together when it mattered most. I'm just so proud of them. I think all of Bronco Nation is really proud of them. I just want to thank our fans. I thought we had an excellent atmosphere tonight. Thank you, students, alumni, Bronco Nation, for showing up, being loud. It was a competitive advantage. We fed off that energy, and I think that showed up. And I think this is a big signature win for us. It really is tangible evidence of the hard work that these guys have put in. We've challenged them to practice well, and they have continued to just keep giving more of themselves, even when the results haven't shown up, even through losses. They just keep showing up, and it's hard to do that, especially for these young men when you're 0-3, to just keep believing when the results aren't there. But they kept believing. I'm proud of them. I love them, and I thought that it was an excellent game for us and a big time win.
Cepha was a captain today. I think Kershaw was last week. What does it say about the culture and the kind of person that you're bringing in, where people that have been here less than a year can feel comfortable enough to assert themselves as leaders and lead the team?
You really could name a bunch of guys. Cepha, Kershaw, Nadame, James Camden on the offensive side of the ball. Talik Williams made some really big plays tonight. Broc was a transfer. I think it's a testament, one, to our coaching staff really doing their due diligence in recruiting, making sure that we're not only getting a great player, but great character. Character is important for me. I think that you win with character. You can have great players, but at the end of the day, it's really what's on the inside that matters to me. And I think that what's on the inside of those guys in there really showed tonight. They showed the heart of a champion tonight. They showed who they truly are to fight through adversity. And I think that I've been saying ever since training camp that this was a special group. I think there's a special bond. They truly care about each other. They truly wanted to get to know each other and buy in, and that's hard to do in today's age with transfer portal and NIL, and it's all about me. They've really sacrificed themselves and their wants to something bigger than themselves, and I think that's when you have something special. And we're going to be tested. I mean, this was a great win, but sometimes the hardest thing to handle is success. It's easy as a competitor to be motivated by failure, and when you don't win, to pick yourself up off the mat and keep coming back and be motivated by that pain. What's really hard is when everybody pats you on the back and you have success and everybody tells you how great you were tonight and a great big win against Toledo, can you keep coming back and doing the things that got us here? Can we come back and have another great week this week and just keep going 1-0? Because that's really going to be the mission and mentality and mindset. That won't change. I want our guys to celebrate this. It's a huge win, not only for them, for our program, also for Western Michigan. I'm just thankful for the support that we have with our new president, Cavaluna. Also, our athletic director. I think, it speaks to their character. When we were 0-3, they were right there behind us. AD Dan and President Cav called me messaged me, came by and saw me, said, we believe in what you're doing. We see that you're really close. Keep fighting. Keep the guys engaged. And that's hard to do. As you know, as a leader, we all want to win as competitors. And for them to one, trust me and believe in me and what we're doing and see it even when the results aren't there, that's pretty rare. And I want to thank them for that. And, you know, I think our players, you know, repaid that belief that they had tonight.
Your defense obviously came up big on the whole and in a couple key spots, particularly the 2 short fields off of turnovers. How important was it, obviously in hindsight with the score of the game, but just in the flow of the game and not letting them kind of snowball of holding those 2 opportunities to field goals and not letting them in the end zone?
Huge. You can't. I mean, I thought our defense played excellent. I mean, what they did in the first half and really all game, they kept getting stops. They held. You know, we dropped the punt at the end of the half, which was a critical error. But our defense comes out. They don't give up a blade of grass, and we hold them to a field goal, which was huge. So you know, should have been 0-0 at halftime, but instead it was 3-0. It could have easily been 7-0, and all of a sudden, you know, you start to feel, you know, that momentum start to shift. We come out in the second half. They get the ball. I thought that was the one drive where we lacked focus on defense all night. They came out in the second half and went right down the field. But the ability to overcome that, to have the mental toughness to respond in the face of adversity. Now we were down 10-0. For our defense to come back and continue to get stops and turnovers and pressure the quarterback, I can't speak enough to, you know, Coach O'Leary, our defensive staff. I thought they had an excellent game plan. They were dialed in. They had our players dialed in, and our players, you know, showed up and executed really well, because at the end of the day, you can have a great plan, you can have players in the right position, but they have to execute and make the plays when they're there. I thought our guys did that tonight.
And then offense, I know we talked on Monday about you wanted to see more from the passing game, just like more consistency, a little more production, because he just kind of couldn't go on as is. Obviously a little better tonight. Fits and starts. You hit that big play to Taylor, obviously for the go-ahead score at the end, or for the 2-point. What did you think about it, and like how Broc operated? And there was probably some good and bad in there. Of just how did you feel like it looked on the whole?
Well, let me take a minute here to brag on our offense for a second, okay? Because everybody, we're talking about a defense, but this was a total team win. It took offense, it took defense, it took special teams, it took all 60 minutes, and it took every single player and coach believing in what we were doing to freaking come out on top. And, you know, our offense hasn't had production because we played 2 Big Ten teams, and one of them was number 9 in the country, and the other one was really good on defense. So we have a really good offense. We outgained, okay, the top offense in the MAC tonight. Okay, we had 291 total yards. They had 280. So, you know, I thought our offensive coaches, Coach Bell, our offensive staff, we had a great game plan, and then Broc and our guys went out and executed. The way that we are going to play football is we're going to, those 1 and 2 yard gains early in the game are going to start to turn into 4 and 5 and 6 yard gains in the second half. Those are body blows, and the way that we're built right now, we can play really good defense, and we are going to ground and pound, and we're going to use, you know, the assets that we have and the strengths that we have to move the ball. You're exactly right. Broc came in. I think he had over 200 yards passing. I mean, he had his most, you know, passing yards in his college career tonight, 201 yards passing. When we needed it the most, he stepped up. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. He just played his tail off. And then there at the end, he wanted to go for 2, and they weren't going to let me kick the extra point. You know, I told the defense, let's go out and get a stop here. When we had 2 minutes left and 2 timeouts, I said, let's go get a stop. I said, we're going to go down and score on offense, and when we score, I'm going to go for 2. And I told the offense the same thing. I almost didn't do that, you know, because those are hard decisions there when it matters the most. But our guys wanted to go for it. They believed in each other, and they said, Coach, you told us we were going to go for it. I said, I did. Let's go for the win. And they executed the play. And, you know, even with all of that, we had to go out there and get a stop. I mean, you know, one of the unsung, you know, plays of the night was on kickoff. You know, we kicked the ball off. They have a great return. And Hunter Smith, our kicker, makes the tackle. If he doesn't make that tackle, they might walk it off with a home run, you know, kickoff return touchdown right there. I thought that was a big play. He got him on the ground. And then our defense goes out and did what it did again. Got him off the field and won the game. It was celebrated on the sideline by me too. Yes, it was.
Coach, you talk about the numbers of outgaining Toledo, but something that you aren't going to see in the numbers is just the buy-in of the guys on offense to, for Broc lowering his shoulder and fighting for a couple extra yards, for Jalen, throwing key blocks when Broc's going for a run, wide receivers. I mean, Broc spoke to it as well of Balin, having a key block on the edge for his first touchdown. Just that buy-in. I mean, you preach toughness all the time here, and to see the guys buy in and lay it all out there, just what that means for you with what they did on that side today.
Like, yeah, it means the world for, I mean, and they've practiced that way. We've got a great group of, I mean, outside of wins and losses, we have a great locker room and a great group of kids that I enjoy coming to work every single day. They lay it on the line. They do everything that we ask them to do, even when the wins haven't been there. And, you saw it again tonight, just the toughness, the resilience. I mean, there hasn't been a grittier game or grittier win since I've been here in 3 years than what we did out there tonight. And it took, all three phases. But you're exactly right. The offense just – it shows how committed and bought in that they are, that we've got receivers and we've got tight ends and we've got I mean, everybody is blocking. And again, that's what selfless is. That's what a teammate is. It's giving of yourself what you want most for what the team needs most. And that's what a great teammate and great teams do.
I think it had been 7 quarters since you guys had last found the end zone, going into the third quarter of this game. But when you finally did, again, that whole second half, things really seemed to kind of click and almost the offense sort of settled a bit. Did it sort of seem that way for you guys, the coaching staff of, just reaching that end zone kind of allowed things to loosen up and lead to the comeback?
I think from the first snap until the last snap, there was a belief and commitment by our guys that really hasn't been here in probably the first 2 years. I think we've continued to see different successes last year. In year 2 going to a bowl game, and we just but when we've gotten down, that's when we have not responded very well. And I thought the mental toughness showed up early in this game. Yeah, when you get to the second half and then all of a sudden you get a touchdown and you cut it to a 1-score game, absolutely there's some momentum there. There's some confidence. It really helps build that momentum and I think propelled us. But the belief and buy-in and commitment was there before that. I think that's evident in how the defense played. In years past, that would have turned, after they scored on the first possession of the second half, that would have gone from 10-0 to 28-0 really quickly, and there would have been, it would have gotten bad. It would have snowballed on us. I thought the mental toughness and resilience to overcome adversity, and now there's tangible evidence. This win, beating a really good Toledo team, that's a really good Toledo team. A really good team in all 3 phases. They've got really good players. Coach Kendall does an excellent job. They're well coached. They don't beat themselves, and they're really hard to beat, whether it's home or away. And I think that was a huge win for us as a program, but also a one that our guys can look at and say, this is the win. This is why we do what we do and why we prepare how we prepare. And when you do, good things happen. And we needed one of those type of wins, and I'm thankful for that and the way that they continued to fight, and all the way down to the bitter end, they fought.
The defense as a whole, you guys have had 3 games so far where the defense has had a spectacular half, I feel like, in all 3 games. But tonight, to put it together, to have it be a complete, 2 halves on that side. And again, the short fields, just everything from what you saw, just how fired up that unit is to keep this rolling of saying, hey, look at what we accomplished and we're just ready for anybody else.
I think that we have a group of, a team that's hungry and that believes in each other. And even though the win, even though you're 0-3, or we were 0-3, they believed that we could be a really good team. And they kept fighting for each other and believing in each other. They believed in themselves, they believed in each other, and they believed and committed to what we were doing, which is really hard when you're 0-3. And I think you saw that by the defense tonight. I've been challenging our team. I've mentioned multiple times, I don't think that we've played 4 quarters of football. We've played a half here. We played 3 quarters against North Texas. We haven't put 4 quarters of really good football together. That was 4 quarters of we played from beginning to end. And it wasn't perfect. There were a lot of things that we've still got to clean up. we had the drop punt, on special teams. We had a block punt because one guy goes the wrong way. So we have, miscommunication on, error on our punt protection. And we have an unsportsmanlike on a third. It's going to be a third and super long, which is unsportsmanlike. We have a missed extra point in a critical time where we're trying to take the momentum. So there are areas that we still have to get better. We got to challenge ourselves. We got to continue to stay hungry. We're going to enjoy this for 24 hours. We're going to celebrate our players and the fight that they had. We're going to enjoy this for 24 hours, and then we're going to reset and refocus because we've got a really good Rhode Island team, top 5 FCS team coming in here next week, and they don't care what we did this week. And we've got to, continue to show up and, again, handle the success there that we've had by showing up and doing what we did to get here. And, it's a great moment for those guys. I want them to enjoy it, but there's still plenty of things that we've got to clean up, when you talk about the penalties in critical situations, and then just the self-inflicted wounds that will get you beat against, really good teams. We overcame it tonight, but you want to always overcome those. We've got to get those cleaned up, and that's my job as the head coach.
You bring up the penalties, only 2 for 20 yards, and the personal foul one there. I believe it was the next play or maybe 2 plays later when John Peters makes an incredible interception. He's really started to affect games these last couple of weeks. What does it say of the trust you have in a true freshman to put him out there in those situations?
Well, we got two true freshmen that are playing really good football for us right now. John Peters and then Avion Chenault on the offensive side of the ball. Both of those guys, I think it's a testament to, great evaluation, great job building relationships and recruiting the right guys. And then those guys coming in and being hungry and taking advantage of their opportunity. Both of those guys, every single time we've put them in the game, they've made plays. They're playing because they've earned it. And that's what we tell our guys. It's earned, not given. And every single guy that gets out there, there are no throwaway plays. There are no, plays because it always comes down. You can look at every single game, and it comes down to 1 or 2 plays. Whether you win or you lose, if those plays were different, the game would be different. But you never know which 1 or 2 plays those are going to be. So you have to play every single one with the focus of a one-snap mentality, 1 play, 1 life. And I think John Peters has done that. He had a big interception, really in a critical situation. Toledo had driven the ball down. He gets an interception in the red zone. That was a game-changing play for us early in the game. He's continuing to get better every time he gets snaps.
Well, you bring up Avion as well, and Andrew asked Broc, was there any hesitation to go right back to him after he dropped that one that would have been a surefire first down, and he didn't even blink. He said, nope, he's trusted him the whole way.
I think that's what, I think, again, that's what you're seeing with this team. They believe in each other, and I think they trust the man next to them. You talk about belief, and that's one thing. That's hoping for things that you can't see yet, Now we've got some tangible evidence there to back that belief up. But then there's also got to be trust, and trust is earned. Trust is something that you build through time and through relationships, and that's what our guys have done by spending time with each other, that bond that they built. And, I also want to commend our coaching staff on doing that, too. It's about relationships. They care about these guys more than just wins and losses, more than just, as players. They care about them as people.
And then, Andrew, another question he asked Broc was about his, this is Raheem's first full game at center, and, Broc was talking about just the relationship they built all throughout spring and then in the fall because, Brady was getting a bit of more of the number 1 reps, and to have that obviously tough injury to Schleicher, and, he came in and did an amazing job.
Yeah, I thought Raheem came in and did an excellent job. I want to go back and kind of watch the tape, but just all week in practice, he prepared the right way. Even when he came in last week in a tough game, against Illinois, number 9 team in the country on the road, he made all the communication calls. He ID'd all the fronts. He really had no issues other than a snap issue, but played really well, and I thought he had a really good week of preparation. Watching it on the field, I thought he had an excellent game. We'll go back and grade the tape, but I think, he had earned those opportunities by how he had prepared, and he was ready for his opportunity. He was ready for his moment.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Go Broncos.